Everyone wants more money, but most of us weren't taught how to create an abundant life. That's where the More Money Show comes in. If you're ready to have more money, create more freedom, and experience more fun, turn the volume up. It's time to learn how to create the prosperity and life you have been dreaming of. Here's your host, Cassie Parks.
Hello, and welcome to this episode of More Money. I am your host, Cassie Parks, and today I have back with me Vicki Pace. I'm so excited to talk to you today. Welcome, Vicki.
Thank you.
So tell me something awesome.
I am wrapping up a 3-week camp with sort of teenagers, and they have just grown so much. Like today is one of my last days with them, and just thinking about where they came from in the beginning and the growth that they've had, and knowing that I had a part in facilitating that growth was just a wonderful experience today for me to see their show sort of come together and see that the amount of growth that they've gone through, especially doing something like theater, it's kind of foreign for a lot of people, well, very foreign for a lot of people. To see them succeed at it has been so great. So it's just like a parallel or a metaphor for, I think, the journey I've gone through as well.
That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
And is this one of the jobs that you sort of manifested along the way of being in Manifest 10K in the Enchanted Circle?
Yeah. And this paycheck for this week, for this camp, is like a while ago I calculated how much I need to be manifesting every month. And that check that I got from them for this camp is exactly that amount, like to the dime, to this penny.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it when that happens.
I know, it's so great.
It is. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So today is your 113th day in the Enchanted Circle.
Ooh.
I know. Isn't that fun?
Mm-hmm.
So what's your total manifested?
My phone went dark. Let me pull it up. Okay. My total manifested so far is $13,263.87.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. How does that feel?
So great and so right and so correct.
I love that.
Yeah. That's something that was always like, it's exciting and satisfying, but it feels like it's what is right for me, being a powerful manifester.
I love that. And so
yeah.
I think you implied it, but I kind of want to hear you talk more about it. Like, is that being right? Like, was that something you questioned before? Like, was it that it didn't feel possible? Was it just like more
yeah,
different?
I think, well, I mean, I don't know if it's too early to dive into it, but I think my old story came up pretty big a couple weeks ago, and it sort of was like, oh, that's what the old story was. And now, I don't know.
Ooh, I got it. So let me, okay.
You know what I'm trying. Okay, thanks.
Yeah. So in the last week, how much have you manifested?
Just shy of $1,000.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I feel like that's probably your biggest week ever. Maybe.
Yeah, certainly one of them.
Yeah. That's awesome. So how does it feel? Like $1,000? That's like more than $100 a day.
Yeah.
Which is fabulous.
Mm-hmm.
Closer to 150.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How does that feel to be that type of manifester that's manifesting that type of money?
It just, I don't know if it feels like anything other than easy.
Yay!
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That it's just like, I don't even think about it. It's just coming to me. It's just zooming to me.
That's amazing. I love hearing that. Like, that's the way it's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And for you, manifesting wasn't something you always described as easy, right?
Right. Or it would come and go. You know, it was never really consistent, but it's starting to be just consistent and easy. And even if I have times when I have like open spaces in my life coming up, I feel very comfortable and confident with them. And I sort of picture, this happened way back when I first put in my 2 weeks from nannying and like really made that shift. I knew I had this wide open space in the fall, and it filled right up with super mega abundance of exactly what I wanted. And I have that opening again, like in the holiday season. And I know I just like have this image of like space movies when they open the door and like space, like sucks everything out.
Yes.
I'm picturing like the doors opening and money sucking into the space that I've created. It's a very vivid image I've had in my head for the last like 2 weeks.
I love it. It's so vivid, especially because I love that you reference back to the nanny job in that situation, because that was a big deal. Like that space did not feel good and it did not feel comfortable. Right?
No.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel comfortable, but it does feel I'm confident and easy with the trust that I have.
I love that. That's so good. Yay.
Yeah. And I had that epiphany when I was on my way to an audition for a big part that would fit really perfectly in that space. And it dawned on me that I'm just easy and confident that it's going to fill up with beautiful perfectness.
Yes. Oh my gosh, it totally is. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love it. So let's talk about this $1,000 right before we started recording officially. We were talking a little bit about, I said, $1,000 in a week. Do you think that has anything to do with the decision that you made?
Yeah. I decided I'm good with money, and that was a huge, big shift for me. And not only that I'm good with money, but being good with money. And you've spoken about the beingness a lot, and I've always had it at the top of my mind, but it never really clicked with me that I need to be that person in order for it to be true. And the beingness, I didn't do anything different. I just, anytime I'm in my car is a really fun way, because for me, it's like a posture thing. And or walking in hallways, for some reason it always clicks in with me that because that sometimes those are sort of dead spaces, almost like you revert back to like just neutral thoughts and habits. So those have become my new norm, is the beingness of abundance, the beingness of being good with money, the beingness of a professional actor. Like all of those things, how I carry myself, how I feel. And it's just, oh my God, it just makes things so much easier and so much more fun.
It does. I love it. Okay, so talk about, because I'm pretty sure I get it, but I want people to be clear. So when you say the beingness and like being in your car, so how are you activating that beingness in your car? Is it just, you're just thinking like an actor? Are you...
So sometimes it's how would I feel if I knew I was driving to a gig that, a rehearsal that was paying me $200 a rehearsal, or how would I feel if I was on my way to the airport to fly home for a weekend, because that's something I can invest in whenever I want? Or how would I be feeling if I had $1 million in the bank, or $10,000? Usually I revert to $10,000 just because it's 10K.
Yeah.
And it's like a feeling. It's like a peace feeling. And it's not like you're lying to yourself or anything. It's just an imagining. I'm really good at sort of that picturing and being. And I think that's part of my acting training, is being in the moment, acting as if in imaginary circumstances. That's generally how I act. So I imagine all these wonderful, amazing things, and then I try to think about how I feel. And then it usually turns into a posture, like how am I sitting and how does that affect my feelings? And so most of the time it's like, how would I be feeling right now if I was on my way to a big premiere, or to go meet my boyfriend for coffee in the middle of the day. So, yeah.
Yes, I love it. And how is that different than before you made the decision, I'm good with money? How were you trying to be? Because you said you got it, right? Like, intellectually, we all get it. Yeah.
I did. Yeah. I just needed that reminder. I don't even like remember.
Oh, that's cool. I like that too. That's awesome. Yeah.
I think it still had some old story to it. Like I need to continually manifest so I can always be sort of investing in everything all the time. Like I felt like I needed to be spending money to feel abundant, but I don't. Oh, I just realized that. That's an aha for me.
Yes. So say more. I mean, I know you just realized it, but say more about that, because I say this all the time and I think people don't always pick it up. So share your, like, what does that mean that I don't have to spend money to be abundant?
It's like those moments I take for myself of being quiet. Like for me, I'm in my car a lot with all the driving I do. So those are great times for me. I'll sometimes verbally script for 5 minutes and then I don't put my music back on. I just like sit and enjoy whatever I'm looking at. And I imagine that, those like imagining scenarios I put through my head, that's where I really feel abundant. And the 5 minutes of scripting, it's just like, I don't even need these experiences. I just feel so good in this moment. I don't really need anything else. And I've realized that I don't really need to go out and spend money and buy all the things that I want or need. And I can, not that I'm like sacrificing or making it work,
Right.
but it just is work. Everything's just worked out that I haven't actually needed those things, or I don't actually want those things I'm investing in, or I want to invest in, or they just show up and people buy them for free for me or give it to me for free. Like I'm going to a wedding next weekend and there's a dress I really, really wanted. So I got it. And even though I don't have a strapless bra, I was like, it'll work out. And my roommate gave me hers.
Yay. That's
So,
amazing.
yeah. So stuff like that, where it's like, I don't even need to invest in this because I know it's going to show up no matter what.
Oh, and so how has your trust muscle been built to do that? Because that isn't you 113 days ago, right?
No. And something I think Jean talked about on one of her interviews, or you mentioned that her instincts weren't for thriving yet.
Mhm.
And I started, it was a couple days after I became the person who's good with money,
Yeah.
that I became the person whose instincts were for thriving, that
Mm.
it started dawning on me, oh, my instincts are for thriving. So I'm following my instincts because they're going to help me thrive, or guide me to more abundance and thriving. And I think that helped my trust muscle too, because I think at first I wasn't trusting my instincts as much as I could have been.
Yeah.
And when I became the person who's good with money, I was like, okay, now I'm truly trusting because I am good with money.
Right.
And the trust muscle before I was working my trust muscle before in little ways. So now that I've become that person who is good with money,
Yeah.
my muscle's already strong enough to keep building from there.
Yes. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
And do you think on day one, I could have just been like, oh, just become the person who's good with money? Or do you think you needed to go through the process and like go through Manifest 10K and all the sort of, they're not small steps, but sometimes when you look back, it's like, oh, that was small, but it was really big in the moment, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you have said, and I remember hearing you say that, be the person who has a lot of money, or be the person who's good with money. I've heard you say that in old podcasts and like, I mean, even old ones from your like happily ever after episodes. Like
Yeah.
I've heard you say that, but that was before Manifest 10K happened. And it's true. It's just like, even moving into the last few steps of Manifest 10K, you don't really do something new every day. You script for 5 minutes every day. And that was a change for me, to not have something new and to think about. It's just like, I'm doing this one thing. So that's a little bit of a trust muscle. It's just trusting that all of the good work that I've put out there has, like, I've shifted lanes and now I'm driving in this lane. So all of this is still within the lane. I'm still in the lines. I got off topic and now I don't know if I answered the question.
So I love that though. Like it's trusting that. And so the question was, could I have just said to you, 113, just be the person who's good with money?
No, I couldn't have, because I was like asking you for the magic answer.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew even when I was asking that I wasn't going to get it from you. I don't even know what I was trying to accomplish at the time. But just hearing you say, be the person who's good with money, it just was the right moment. And it was like, I had to build up all of the trust, all of the, I think it's
Evidence, trust,
yeah, evidence, the trust.
and you had started to become that person, right? That's
Mhm.
what happens in Manifest 10K is you start to become that person little by little by little
Mhm.
until it becomes like, okay, decision, I can go all into her. I mean, that's what it's designed to do, is kind of take you just little step by little step.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It was little step by little step. They didn't feel little at the time. And, and now it's like, I felt like I was sort of not spinning, like spinning my wheels, but like spinning, shooting towards something.
Yeah.
And then it sort of culminated in this epic couple of weeks. And now I'm good with money.
I love it. And now I'm good with money. Love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
Uh-huh.
What's the most exciting part of that?
The ease and the confidence. I don't think 6 months ago, I don't even want to think about it. Like, that's just not even who I was or am. And it's fun. People notice it in me left and right. They're always saying how like easy and confident I seem. And it's funny. And other people are telling me the good stories that I've created now too. Like, I'll be on the phone with someone and they're like, oh, look at you, full-time actor, or look at you, your day is full of theater. It's great. Like beginning to end. And I don't even prompt these things. They just come up. Or I've said to people before, like, I have my Christmas is open for good things now, and I know it's going to be amazing. And I've had people say, that's really intimidating. You just know it's going to happen. Yeah, it is, because it's not even that I know it's going to happen. It is happening. So
Yes.
yeah.
What's the difference between, this is hard to explain, even that's why I'm asking the question, but like the difference between like thinking and like knowing, right? You're like, I know, but like now it's like, oh yeah, it's happening, right? There's a shift in that even.
God, and it's like a very visceral, like I can feel that feeling. It's like,
Yes.
it's like I've said this before, like that fluttery trust feeling, but it's just like, it's the knowing. Oh God. And you've said that before and it never clicked with me, but now it clicks with me.
I love
It's
that.
funny how often like, I've heard you say all these amazing, brilliant things and they don't work until you are the person that they're
Yeah.
true for.
Yeah. That you've, sort of worked the process and you've stepped into that truth.
Right. You've stepped into the truth and you've become the person. And the difference between thinking and knowing. Yeah. And I don't know. And I realize, like, when I tell myself that I'm good with money, it could be interpreted as an affirmation, but it's not an affirmation because it's the truth.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
I know. What did affirmations feel like before?
like, you were fixing something. That's what it felt like for me, was like, this is what's wrong. So I need to say this to negate it.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
And now what does it feel like? It's not an affirmation because it's something else. I get it, because it's totally different when it comes from that decision and from that stepping into and that beingness.
mhm.
I have to come up with a name for it because I feel like we're going to start using it. But it's like a future self statement, or it's not even future self. Like, it's your current self now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think of it as like, I'm in the lane. So it's coming. Like, I'm going to not drive over it. That sounds terrible, but like, it's going to come into the car.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Well, like, no, that lane leads to a certain place, right? It's coming no matter what. Like, you're in the lane that, like, whatever, passes the restaurant, or
absolutely. So, and it's true that thinking and knowing is just so different. And it's almost like you got to just do all that work to get to the place to know all of it.
Yes. That's so true.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love hearing that, because that's how it works. Everybody think like you said, like, oh, I heard you say all these things before, but they haven't sunk. I didn't exactly get it until you do the work to sort of build up and create the space where you can get that stuff and you can become that person.
Yeah. And it's and that's part of the trust muscle too, is going through the process and going through all of the steps of 10K and trusting that it's coming, it's happening, it's working, it's all happening. And it's funny, like, even when I have like doubting moments. Like I've had some struggles, and I think in my last episodes were like fresh out of those. I
Yeah.
was still manifesting money. Like money was coming in.
Mhm. Yes.
Yeah. Or like fresh, like right on the heels of it, like 2 minutes after I'm wiping away tears and snot, I'll get a text saying, "Oh, you have $60 new for yourself."
Yes. Yes. And that's the way, because the process, like when you're working the process, like all the sort of breakdowns and the shifts and all of that is just, it's part of the process. Like it's still manifesting because it's just like all that shifting happening.
Yeah. It's part of the process. And I just love that. Like, I love that I get to feel it's so
Mhm.
obviously not always enjoyable, but looking back, it's like things are moving faster and more powerfully, I think, because I give myself permission to feel all the feelings.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh, I don't think we've talked about that
Mm-mm.
before. Yeah. Um, do you want to talk about like being able to feel and like opening up that space and like who you are now versus 113 days ago?
Yeah. I think I told myself 113 days ago that I was allowing the feeling, but
Mm-hmm.
um allowing the feeling free of judgment is a new skill I've learned. Just being sad, like if I get triggered by something, just sort of turn off all the stories that can come up when you're high, when you're wound up. You can have a lot of stories happen. But if I've just learned how to tell myself it's okay to be sad, I'm sad, it's okay. And just cry it out and feel better. And especially now, because it seems to be a process where I have a big sad moment and then something amazing happens.
Yeah. Yes.
It's just like every time.
Yeah. And I think it's part of the breakdown for you. Like we all,
Mhm.
when you get far enough in, you're like, oh, okay, this is what happens for me. And for you, there's like this sort of sad, which I'm guessing is a mourning, and it doesn't, again, we don't have to figure it out or label
Mm-mm.
it,
Yeah.
but like it's the thing that happens in sort of the big leap process and the breakdown to the next level, all those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the one time you mentioned mourning, it clicked in that if that was what it felt like, was like I was mourning something, but I didn't know what, and I didn't have to know what. And so then I just turned it to, I'm sad. It's okay to be sad. And it's always so intense, but it's so fast, and then it's done.
Yes. I
Yeah.
love it because you're actually feeling the feeling
hmm
instead of,
And also knowing that this feeling, I'm not, it's just not bad. It's just, don't judge it. And especially because coming out of it, I always have so much good happen immediately after.
I love that. Yeah. And then not judging it. And just to clarify for listeners, what you mean is that you're not trying to figure it out. You're not saying like, if I'm sad, that means I'm doing something wrong, or
hmm
you're not asking what you're like, you're just being sad because you're sad.
Yeah. Or like whatever triggered me, I can sometimes like overanalyze that and get wound up and get even more sad. But I just turn off all of those things that triggered me. And then, yeah, the other thing is like, am I manifesting bad stuff because I'm sad right now? But it's like, no, because you've done all that work. You're in the lane. Like
Yes.
there's a range of feelings within that lane. So
Oh, I love the lane analogy. It's
I do
awesome.
too. And I
Yes.
heard that from you ages ago, but it's always stuck with me.
Awesome. Oh, I love it.
Mhm.
I always love hearing when those things come back. Like, oh yeah.
I did that once.
Yeah. I do talk about that. And so say a little bit more about how you think actually feeling without judgment, without figuring it out, without stopping it, has even opened the doors wider to manifesting.
I think it's opened up space, um because I think it's practicing that trust muscle of non-judgment, of like just free flowing
Mm-hmm.
feelings. And I think it's like a two-way door. Open up the door for for feelings to flow through, and you're also opening up the door for more good to flow through back. um
Yes.
like it's a two-way the two-way street confuses me because I'm in a lane.
Right. You're
But
in
it's
the
like
lane.
no, so it's like the door. So that's sort of how I picture it is like that spaceship analogy again, like the door opening for the garbage to shoot out into space and all of the good to zoom in.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
And not that the feelings are garbage, but that's all I'm picturing, like a movie.
Yeah.
where it's
Yeah.
garbage.
That's what it looks. Yeah. It's like these things go out and these things come in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are you most excited about for the next like 30 to 90 days?
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Well, I think I only have like 2 more weeks left of Manifest 10K, and
You
I'm
do?
so excited to start again from the
Me
top.
too. I'm so excited for you. Why are you excited to start from the top?
Oh my God, because I've grown so much. And I just like, I can't even fathom how much more amazing goodness is going to come in the next, was it 16 to 90 days is technically what Manifest 10K is.
Mhm.
And so I'm so excited to see the growth I'll make from there because I feel so good now and I know so much good is coming. It's like, it's like a surprise party I know is coming, but I don't know when. And it's just going to be so much fun no matter when it comes.
Yes.
And so I'm excited about that. And I'm excited that I have this open space in the wintertime.
Mm-hmm.
And I have most of my days open and available right now. I'm just like so much space for amazing fun goodness to suck itself right in.
Come in. Yes. You've created the vacuum for awesomeness.
Oh my, yes. That's it. The words that I'm looking for. Thank you.
You're welcome. I love it. And it's the vacuum.
For awesomeness.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I'm excited for you.
Me too.
Cool. I know. Oh my gosh. I'm just like, I'm looking forward to our next interview because it's going to have all these awesome things and newly manifested stuff and cool gigs. Like,
I'm so excited.
So fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Any final thoughts as we wrap up today?
No, I mean, I did just think about this. I don't know why this popped into my head, but my visualizing, like I'm a visual person and I drive past the mountains often, not directly past, but I see them often. And some days they're different every day. And some days they're a little cloudy or there's over coverage or some days they're crystal clear and beautiful and make me tear up. And even on the cloudy days, they give me so many feelings, so many good things. And I usually tell myself it's like a metaphor for the process, like, or driving home at night and I can't see the mountains, but I know they're there. And that's like trusting the process. Or sometimes I'll be driving past like through Evergreen and you can see the lights way up on the mountains and they're just tiny pinpricks of lights and you know they're not stars, so they must be people on the mountains. And I just feel like that's such a wonderful reminder and metaphor for me that it's trust the process. It's there. It's all moving. It's all happening. So I wanted to share that.
Yes. Thank you for sharing that. I know somebody's going to benefit hugely from hearing that because it's awesome. And that's true. That's the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And I know I am looking forward to your next interview as well as I'm sure all of our listeners. Have a fabulous rest of your day.
Thank you. Of course. Thank you for having me.
Yes. Thank you for being here. And everybody tune in for Vicki's next interview to catch up on what else is going awesome.
Thank you for joining us on The More Money Show. To learn how to identify your current money story, go to identifyyourmoneystory.com.